This is one of the most exciting discoveries that I look forward to presenting to you in the next 10 minutes. It's called Sunday Creek. It's down in the Victorian goldfields. I'll just race through these disclaimers. So, how do you define a discovery? How do I say this is one of the most exciting discoveries on Earth at the moment? One way to do it is take the hit rate. So let's say greater than 100 gram metre hit rate times the grade times the width down hole. And then divide that by the amount of drilling. And then you get a hit rate of very good drill holes. I can't see anything better globally today that's hitting at the frequency of this discovery. It's not everything that makes a discovery, of course, but it's a very, very good start and a great metric. So you can see over the last few years, we put 58 kilometres of drilling into this discovery. We're going to put 60 kilometres into it over the next year. So we're on a roll. We really are on a roll. We've got cash in the bank. We own the freehold land over the project. So we've got that magic ingredient behind drilling, a great discovery, and the momentum with the cash and the permits to advance it. It's a very high-grade discovery, and I'll show you that. We're only about 3% of the way into the trend, so we've got room to grow, and that's a very important thing in any discovery, that you can make it bigger. And by inference, it's obviously got scale. In terms of the cap table, let's just race through this quickly. We've got around about 550 to 600 million Australian market cap today. The institutions have come in over the last year or so as this discovery has started to become very well known. And this 48% is what Joe talked about. That's owned by Mawson Resources, which is a company I co-founded and I chair today. And we spun the assets out of that company only a couple of years ago. Now the mother, being Mawson, has been superseded by the daughter, and we've had to go through some interesting restructuring to consolidate ownership. So our aim is to consolidate ownership of the assets, so it's not essentially half owned by the ASX and half owned by Mawson. And the most tax-effective way to do that is to merge these assets. We've stripped the assets, other assets that Mawson had, and relisted them, and we'll be spinning out into a public unlisted company, the uranium assets, before the merge. And that merged company will be called Southern Cross Gold. The management and board of Southern Cross will come across to Mawson and run that company. It is going to all happen by November, mid-November to late November. If you're a Mawson shareholder, you don't have to do anything. You will have a vote on the change in board and the spin out of the uranium. If you're a Southern Cross shareholder, that's who's going to vote on the scheme. But this will unlock value. There's a lot of institutions who are waiting to buy this stock when that consolidation occurs. And most importantly, it will be dual listed. So the Canadians, you love Victorian gold, you love high-grade gold, and this will be the first time it will be in this market. So stay and watch this space. You can buy it now through Mawson or when the company is merged. Good projects get better. Here's the top 10 intersections into the project. They get better and better, and we're seeing that. Most of the top 10 intersections have come over the last 6 to 8 months. If you just take a database analysis of our 40,000 assays and cut them at 2 grams carrying 1 gram, and this is time on the x-axis from May 2022 when we listed the company down under. The average width has stayed about the same, downhole width, about 4 or 5 metres, but the average grade has just continued to get better as we're hitting more and more high grade as we go deeper into this project. So very much like Fosterville, these things get better at depth and we get better at understanding them, and that's how we can get those metrics. And that's very much shown by this chart. Victoria has produced a lot of gold, but from a very different style of gold in Ballarats and Bendigos. And this is very important to understand that Fosterville was really only known as a great mine over the last 8 years, and it's really only over the last 3 or 4 years that we've understood why this has occurred, why they become better at depth, and as a consequence we can start to understand, map and look for these high grades, and that's what this company has benefited from, and we found another one from standing on the shoulders of giants, Sunday Creek being our project. So when you get into one of these, you go deep and go deep early and you find these amazingly high grades. Getting into the project, here's Melbourne, the beautiful city of Melbourne. It's only 60 kilometres from Melbourne. Yet there was only about 5 kilometres of drilling ever into this project, despite it being mined for 50 years from the late 1800s through to World War One. Here's Fosterville, about 100 kilometres from us, and Costerfield, which is owned by Mandalay. So when you're in Victoria, don't look for the green. They're the older style, deeper mesozonal deposits. They're nuggety and hard to reconcile and put together, whereas the orange deposits are the ones that form super high grades when you go to depth, and they form very good, amenable mines that are reconcilable. And in fact, Fosterville is still the second highest grade gold mine on Earth today. Let's zoom into the project. Here's the scale. This is important. We've drilled 60 kilometres into this part of the project. It's about 1.2 kilometres, yet we've got a lot of room to move. So this trend that is the geology extends over 12 kilometres, and we're starting to focus more so out through here. We have drilled gold. We have drilled gold in about 2,000 metres of drilling, and there's old mines, but there's a lot more to go into this area, and we're just about to start a $500,000 IP survey, a geophysical survey. Let's just go into what we've got here, seeing 10 minutes is going very quickly. Here is how the geology works. Now, we're going to go underground in a minute, but we're just looking in plan view. We say our mineralisation is very much like a ladder. So we're looking in plan view, looking down. This is 200 metres. The sides of the ladder I've just shown and the rungs are like this. The gold is exclusively hosted between the rails of the ladder, which is a 100 to 200 metre wide structure that a dike has intruded in, and it's altered the sediments and made it very brittle and a great host for the gold. And we've only missed that in 2 holes out of 120. That extends for 12 kilometres, the rails of the ladder. Within that, we've got the rungs of the ladder, which are the vein sets. They're very extensive. They start at surface and they go down to 1 kilometre. Their strike extent is limited to that altered rock, which is 20 to 100 metres long, and their average widths are 3.5 metres this side and 2.5 metres this side. They can get up to 10 metres wide. So we're talking about mechanical mining, high grades here, nothing that will require handheld mining equipment, etc. The grades and widths are quite very similar to Fosterville. So let's go underground. And you can start to see here the dikes showing, and the dots are the gold grades. We're only showing you the very highest gold grades here. You can see everything above 10 grams is green, greater than 500 grams is in red. We've got the old mines that were here, down to 180 metres, maximum 100 metres here and here. So you can see a little heartbreakingly, the old timers missed a lot of the gold. And we've drilled this, as you can see, down to 1 kilometre, and it's going to get a lot bigger. And let me show you how. But one important thing is these deposits get better at depth, and you can see the 500 gram hits in red here, the plus 100 gram hits in orange. And there's about a break there where you can see that the 500 gram hits come in. That's about 400 or 500 metres down at depth. So how is that going to play out? What have we got? Just very quickly, we put an exploration target out at the start of the year when we had 40 kilometres of drilling into this, and we had a range of 1 to 1.6 million ounces at 7 to 10 grams per tonne gold equivalent, with 20% coming from antimony. Antimony is a critical metal, a very important part of this project, and this will be one of the larger antimony projects in the Western world, and we've seen China put restrictions in the antimony space just recently. Now, we've got the red, but we've also now drilled a lot more with 20 kilometres more drilling. We had a 200 metre wide hit with 8 high-grade structures down through here. This was 400 metres further down. We got a hit. So there's another body developing beside this. The yellow holes are in the lab. So keep an eye on news flow. There's always news flow from this company, with 5 rigs operating today and a 6th coming within the next month. We took a 500 metre step down here. If you can't read that, that was a 100 metre step out down there, one of the highest grade holes on the property, 3.6 metres at 125 grams. We've got gold through here, here and here, and finding a lot more near surface here. So you can see where we're drilling now is into the blue. And if this works, we're heading towards 3 million ounces in the blue area, including the red, at 10 grams per tonne. That's our aim, not a resource, that's our aim. But with 60 kilometres planned, that's where this is heading. That makes this a very, very special and unique asset if we achieve our aims over the next year. And remembering that this will likely double at depth, the surrounding mines do. This is only 1/10 of the area that we're exploring. So a very good runway here. Antimony, I've mentioned, is a very critical part of it, and it comes out in the metallurgy. We've got free gold, so this is not a refractory deposit. We have a gravity and then an antimony gold float. So a very standard flow sheet here that we've already defined. So with my time up, I would just like to point out that we are very much on the role here to defining a very, very special project. There's no better drill holes in the space that you've seen come out of this asset over the last year. You're going to have an ability to own this directly when it dual lists here in Canada. And as Joe said, exploration is what matters. Exploration is what you want. That's how you get value through the drill bit. And you also get value by finding these very unique, high margin projects. And that's what we're aiming to create here. So keep an eye on this merge as we close it over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Thank you very much.